What's up, guys? So, we covered Daryl Dixon in France. We talked about Rick and Michonne and The Ones Who Lived. And now it's time to talk about the best one, Dead City. It's finally time to talk about Negan and Maggie. Let's get it. Okay, so first things first, I gotta be honest with y'all. When I found out that there was a spinoff focusing on Maggie and Negan working together, I was so hyped and eager to finish up the main series so I could watch it. And then, seeing them work together in season 11 of the main series, that only added to the hype I had for Dead City. The chemistry between these two, the tension, the suspense, the moral question of who's really right and who's really wrong, really made the first half of season 11 so good. So good. I loved watching these two on screen together, and it gave me an idea of how Dead City would be. And honestly, Dead City was even better. So, in Dead City, Maggie's son Herschel has been kidnapped by a man calling himself the Croat. He stole her son and wants to trade him for Negan. So Maggie has to track down Negan and form an uneasy alliance with him in the first episode called Old Acquaintances. I loved it. And she has to get his help in saving her son, which has them traveling to Manhattan, New York, because that's where the Croat is. The Croat is someone who used to work for Negan back when Negan was still leader of the Saviors. So we see a little bit of Negan's past. Simon makes a flashback cameo, which was so super cool and unexpected. So much backstory, and so many things unfold as Maggie struggles internally between focusing on the mission, saving her son, and just despising Negan.
Either way, it doesn't matter what you think.
You know, you have been sticking it to me in infinite little ways since the second we hooked up. Don't think I haven't noticed. And I get how having Herschel taken has you spinning out, stirring up emotions, memories, all sorts of shit. But vengeful thoughts that I thought you had put to bed, clearly you have woken the hell up.
The story is very straightforward, honestly, and it just has a darker vibe than The Ones Who Live had. Seeing this ghost town of New York overrun with the dead, it's like a freaking skeleton of a city is dead. That's literally just the vibe and the atmosphere was so freaking good. It was overrun with the dead, and then underground it had a freaking bioweapon. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. This looks like something. This looks like a Resident Evil boss, man. One thing I hope they continue to do in the Walking Dead series is give us crazy shit like this. Just having the walkers evolve. Like, first we saw acid zombies in France. We saw rock zombies in The Ones Who Live. And now we're seeing whatever the hell this is. This was so freaking cool. I just really like the variety and sort of the evolution with the walkers, everything that they're doing. It's stuff like this that still keeps The Walking Dead, especially these new spin-off series, it's stuff like this that keeps it fresh. That plus just the overall vibe of this show. It was so good and it left me wanting more. It added more layers to both Maggie and Negan. It's not by accident that the season ended on them split screen like this. These characters are essentially the same, and in a weird way, they need each other. I think character-wise, this show was the best because of the internal conflict the characters were constantly facing. This was the most interesting aspect of the whole thing, and it really centers all around Negan. Everybody has sort of a tunnel vision. It's just black and white to them. And I'll admit, for a while, at a time, it was also like that for me. When I was first introduced to this character, when Negan first appeared, I saw him in one way: bad. He's the villain. He's a piece of shit. Killing Glenn and Abraham, laughing, mocking them as they die. I did not like this dude at all. It was clear to me I didn't like him. I had that tunnel vision. But as the series kept going, and we began to understand him more and spend more time with him, I realized it wasn't all just complete black and white. And maybe it wasn't as simple as I thought it was with this guy. And that's pretty much how the other characters, like the sheriff and Maggie, are with him as well. Maggie also had this tunnel vision with Tommaso, thinking that he was just this awful lying sack of crap when it's revealed he tipped off the Croat about their attack. Listening to him and his reasons, I think that's when she finally starts to understand everything isn't black and white like she thought it was. The best example of this would be in the finale, Maggie and Negan fight. This is something I always wondered if they would do, and if I would see, and it didn't disappoint. This whole scene was dope. This was something that has been building for years. Over a swarm of walkers, it was horrifically good. When Negan had his knife to Maggie's throat and he drops it and steps back, that action in itself is him saying to her, this is how it should be. And as he's starting to accept the fact that he might really just be the monster after all and nothing more, he starts to take responsibility for it. And just as he's accepting he's a monster, Maggie starts to accept that maybe he really isn't a monster. Maybe she even cares a little bit about him. And I just like the parallel with these two. Maggie has hated Negan's guts ever since he killed Glenn. And the majority of Dead City showed her being mean to him, dismissive, quick to judge. But by the end, she's wrestling with the whole thing. The whole plot twist with her lying and betraying him actually got to her. It annoyed the hell out of me. Like, I was rooting for Negan in this fight. I couldn't believe Maggie betrayed him. I was mad at Maggie because together they are much better allies than enemies. And I think she realized that in the end. This show was so good. There wasn't anything I disliked about it. Even the Croat was cool.
You blew up my ear, so what? I have another.
I love that line. That scene lives in my head rent free. My favorite episode, hands down, was episode 2. And it's for one reason. There's one thing that this episode had that none of the other episodes had, and it was a knock-knock joke.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Butter. Butter who? Well, you better get out your umbrellas, because it is about to goddamn rain. Now, I don't know if any of you have checked tonight's forecast, but if I see even one mole hair on one of your ugly ass faces, it won't be just a rainstorm. Hell, it won't be a thunderstorm. It'll be a goddamn hurricane.
It was so enjoyable to see old Negan. That charisma, the jokes right before the kill. It really reminded me of the season 7 finale when Negan rolled up to Alexandria and he was taunting Rick. That was hilarious.
You ever hear the one about the stupid little prick named Rick who thought he knew shit but didn't know shit and got everyone that he gave a shit about killed? It's about you.
I love that. And I love this scene as well. This scene was hilarious, but also it showed, number one, the internal struggle that Negan has with slipping back into his old self. Something we've seen him struggle with before. It's almost like a recovering alcoholic who's struggling to recover. Not wanting to go back to that, but it's so easy. And it's like he could just turn it on immediately. And then you have Maggie, who sees old Negan in this situation, the same Negan she views as a monster, the same monster who killed her husband. But now she's being protected by that very monster. And perhaps that's what Negan meant when he said that he was only a monster when he absolutely had to be.
It takes a monster to make one, I guess.
No. You see, I was only a monster when I absolutely had to be. When I had to put on a show to protect my people.
So I think for both of them, that scene was probably the most crucial part of their journeys, especially for Maggie. She probably saw exactly what he was talking about. This is the show. This is the monster. And you know, she's always seen it from a different point of view. She's always seen it from the victim point of view. Now she's seeing it in a view that it's like he's doing this to protect me. I won't lie. I would like to see Negan go back to his more bloodthirsty, leather jacket wearing, violent ways. It's something they're setting up for season 2, and I can't wait. This show caters to fans of the franchise. It's not really a good introduction to anyone who's unfamiliar with these characters because there's so much underlying conflict between Maggie and Negan. But as a big fan of the franchise, I would have to give this show a 10 out of 10. 100% perfect. Yup. It is 100% perfect. The visuals, the Barazzi gang, they were cool. Having it all take place in New York City, all of this was so cool. And it's definitely an installment that makes the franchise rewatchable. I cannot wait for season 2. Number one, I want to see more stuff like this. This is just crazy. This is a Resident Evil boss right here. I want to see old Negan back, and I want like a real genuine level of resolvement between him and Maggie. I know that Negan killed Glenn and that was horrible, but since then he has done a lot of things to try to make up for it. He has been really trying. He saved Maggie's son. He saved her son. He saved Alexandria. He killed the Alpha. She even told him in the series finale that he's earned his place amongst them. Like he's been doing so much, and it's like he even apologized that she didn't forgive him. I would like to see in season 2, at least in the very end, I would like to see some sort of resolvement where she does forgive him. You know, that would be nice because, like I said, I think that these two characters are much better allies than they are enemies. It's almost like Rick and Michonne. They can do anything together. If I had to rank all the shows, I would put the Daryl Dixon series at the top, 12 out of 10. Negan and Maggie, Dead City, 10 out of 10. And The Ones Who Live, a 9 out of 10. I loved all 3 of these shows. All of them were so good. So good. Now, other people have different opinions. I've seen a lot of hate towards all 3 shows. I've seen a lot of controversial opinions, a lot of stuff that I personally don't agree with, but to each his own. I loved all 3 shows, literally. These are all great characters, all fantastic stories, all had good villains. A lot of them, every single villain in every single one of these shows were way better than the Commonwealth and the Pope. The Pope, really? Guys, let me know what you thought about Dead City. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I cannot wait for season 2. Daryl Dixon season 2, that's coming out this year. The Ones Who Live, I don't know if that's getting to season 2, but I imagine nothing is slowing down anytime soon for Rick and Michonne. So let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.